Hello, this is Mr. Patrick's Corner. We have breaking news today. The city of New York is setting up a facility for nuclear war. They're giving instructions for your safety, how to stockpile bottled water, go to the inside of a building, or better yet, into a basement. If you're smart, you'd also line it with lead to prevent contamination from nuclear radiation. The Israelis have safe rooms where they basically take one room of their home, it's inside, and they cover the walls with plastic, use plenty of tape to seal all the windows. And now with nuclear, though, you're going to have to do that, and you're going to have to cover yourself with lead lining. Thin lead. It's rolls of light lead material. They're hazardous, so use gloves when you're doing it. And it's very, very important that you make sure that you have enough food for 2 weeks. Get canned food and then put those in boxes that are kind of lead lined, so they don't get any radiation. Why are we doing this? Because Mr. Biden wants to push Mr. Putin into a nuclear war. And now there's another solution. You could go through all these different sets and reputations. If you go to Breaking Point, they have a follow-through list from the New York Safety Protection Agency. The nice lady will go through the line and tell you how to survive nuclear warfare. If you're a boomer like me, they used to tell you to hide under your desk. That'll save you. Right. Didn't work then, it won't work now. Now, the other thing that might do some good is to contact your representative. This is the number for Dianne Feinstein, 415-393-0707. Her Washington number is 202-224-3841. For Senator Padilla, that's 202-224-3553. Why do you need to call them? You need to call them and tell them not to okay the treaty, the NATO treaty with Finland and Sweden, because the last thing we want to do is become a target for Mr. Putin. Mr. Putin has had very good relations with the Swedes and the Finns, and now we're going to push him to the point where he's going to use nuclear weapons. Oh, by the way, if you're young, between the ages of 18 and 30, you'll probably be forced to register for the draft, and you'll be inducted. Because if we do go to war with Russia, it's going to take at least 25 million American servicemen. That's quadrupling. Well, we have roughly about 1.5 million servicemen now, but we're going to, in the Army, that means you're going to push it to about 20 million in the Army, and then the other forces, the same thing. We're going to have to center our economy around war production, but I don't know how we're going to do that because we've shipped all of our stuff overseas to be manufactured, and to Mexico and Canada. And do you think the Justice Trudeau is going to want to become a target for Russian nuclear missiles? I have my doubts, but, he's part of NATO too. Now, the president of Mexico, I don't think he wants to, and he's not part of Mexico. So more than likely, he's going to tell the United States to go pound salt. This is why we don't need this situation. What we need is negotiation, not war. But, I'm just a simple retired truck driver. I don't understand these people because they don't make any sense. They don't want to spend anything in America. They keep telling us how they're protecting us from the world. Right. You keep looking around to get us into a fight, and pretty soon you're going to get one. And Mr. Putin is not a guy you want to tangle with. Okay, in World War II, they had partisans. These were NKVD, the precursor to the KGB. They took 80% casualties. They fought behind the lines. What do you think is going to happen when you start invading Russia? Do you think the Russians are just going to go, oh, thank you, America, you've invaded our country and we support you. You've gotten rid of Putin. No, what they're going to do is come together and smack you right in the face. And that's what's going to happen. You're not going to get enough Russians to support you. Right now, the Russians are listening to Mr. Putin because you've destroyed their economies. You've put hardships on them, and now you want them to support us. Look, these sanctions don't help us in this war. All they do is create animosity by the Russian people. And you keep telling them, oh, this is going to help you. Right, when you're trying to feed your family and you can't get a job because guess what? All the plants are closed down and you're not making anything, and your wonderful leader is explaining to you, hey, these guys are trying to put us under. They want to take over our country. And it looks like they're trying to take over our country. And I just don't get it. Again, we're looking for a fight and we're going to find one. It doesn't make sense. This is the I don't understand video. Do you want to have a nuclear war? You get those Finns close to Murmansk or shoot off a missile towards Murmansk. The Finnish nation is finished. They have bomb shelters and saunas in their home. What a wonderful thing. But it's not going to protect their people. It's a very heavily forested country. They don't have a lot of food. And on top of that, they only have 5 million people. Say that 2.5 million or 3 million die in a war. Who's going to support the rest of them? Who's going to take the casualties? Oh, wonderful Sweden. Sweden has never been in war for over 200 years, and suddenly they're going to walk up and say, yeah, we want to be a target for Russian aggression. The Russians are going to hit the Finns first, the Swedes second, and anybody in between. And the Baltic states, you can kiss those guys goodbye. How are we going to get supplies to them? Through the Baltic? The Baltic is controlled by the Russians. All they got to do is lay mines, and that's the end of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Lithuania is at the bottom here. And they're playing games with the Russian running material into the Russian district of Kaliningrad. It used to be Kolinsberg. Well, the Russians kicked the Germans out and took it over. They're not going to give it up. There's a little space between Belarus and Kaliningrad. It's a little section of land. If the Russians go in and the Belarusians go in and close that corridor, things are going to happen that are not nice. The Belarusians will, if they take hits from NATO, guess what? You got those guys pissed off at us. You're looking for a fight, you're going to get it. It's better if we don't look for a fight. Do you think the French are going to fight if they know that Paris is going to get nuked? Come on. Have a little sense. Call up your representatives and tell them to nix this idea of putting Sweden and Finland in NATO. We have enough problems. Also, they're already protected with the EU deal. They're both members of the EU. And wonderful Denmark? Great. The Danes have always been the thinking people of Western Europe because they're a tiny country. Hitler invaded them, took them over in one day, but they survived. You've got to think about your populations and your people. Now, I know that the wonderful Swedes are thinking, oh, they're not going to hit us, and we're just going to go here, and we're going to be unity together. I don't think unity is going to work. What I think is good common sense, going to the table and asking them. Do you think that the Finns and the Swedes are going to give money to rebuild Ukraine? Ukraine is known for being one of the poorest countries in Europe. And they're poor because they've had a bunch of crooks running their country. You think the Russians are bad. The Ukrainians make the Russians look like the choir boys. They've stolen everything that couldn't be nailed down. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Saturday. On Monday and Tuesday, I want you to look over my video. And if you like what I said, call up your representatives. Those are the people in California. Call Dianne Feinstein's office and Padilla's office and tell them if they don't come into their senses and they vote for this, you're going to vote them out of office in November. Have a nice day. Please subscribe and click if you like this. Thank you. Mr. Patrick's Corner.